such a significant progress in women's health because cervical cancer tests like the Teal test allow women to take their health into their own hands. They allow women to take the HPV self-sample that will then be, their sample that can be sent to the lab for testing themselves. What this means is researchers have, years of research has shown that women have multiple barriers to getting screened. The challenges including finding the time to go to your doctor, challenges including transportation, affordability, just the stigma, or maybe, also some women maybe have lack of trust of a provider. So giving a woman the opportunity to self-swab, meaning mailing them the test kit, or they can pick it up, giving them access to this test kit, they can self-swab their own sample and then mail it back to the provider or drop it off at the convenience of that, their own convenience. So this is a game changer because it'll hopefully, reduce the biggest barrier for some women. Really is that thinking about the pain of that cervical swab from a provider. And this is a big deal because research has shown, and the reason it also got FDA approved, is that women who take their own self-sampling, those samples that they swab are as accurate as a provider's sampling. I'm focused on how to improve cervical cancer screening, specifically for rural women and women living in poverty and women who have chronic conditions. This is because these women face, extra barriers to cervical cancer screening. And one way that we are solving this problem is by asking women, how can we improve their HPV self-collection experience? Research already shows us that women prefer HPV self-collection over in-person screenings with their providers. There's overwhelming research that shows that. However, few studies do highlight that some women shared, including our own study that we conducted with women with chronic conditions, that women shared that, yes, there are studies that show that I should be confident, but I'm still concerned about whether I did this test correctly. Did I do something wrong during the self-collection process, for example, to taint my sample, right? Some women are nervous about being able to do it correctly. So in our focus groups with women, we asked, okay, we showed them the test, we showed them, the instructions that come with the test, and women really gave us feedback on how we could improve, maybe embedding videos of different languages, for example, making sure that the instructions are easier to read and step by step, even making sure that within the materials there's representation of women across age groups, for example. So our research currently is focused on how can we take this very exciting news, right, of these tests being available, but how can we make sure that all women feel like they can engage in this? Because we are seeing women die from cervical cancer, even though, we have really made a big impact. It's not even on the top 5 list of top cancers that kill women in the US anymore. But we know 4,000 women die because they're being left behind. So we also are doing research to make sure that nobody's getting left behind in terms of being able to access and digest the material to be able to successfully complete a self-sample.